Staff Solutions Engineer at Confluent. Hi, Kenneth. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Simon. How are
Perfect.
you?
I'm great. Kenneth is going to talk briefly about data mesh and data API. And without further ado, I'll hand it right over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon. So let me introduce myself. My name is Kenneth Cheung, Staff Solutions Engineer of Confluent. And today's, thank you so much for your time having me presenting the idea of data mesh and data API. I think, yeah, we are quite interested in, this term, it's a big trend. Data mesh is coming up in terms of data management, a new way of how you manage data, how to share your data across the enterprise through real-time event streaming, real-time data. So let's get started. But before we step into data mesh concept, let's start with event streaming, just to prep you what is the event streaming that we are talking about. So first off, I want to differentiate what's commonly we were thinking of, what's event streaming, or when we hear the term streaming, we might think about, media streaming, like Netflix or Disney Plus. I think we all watch videos on this on demand video platform, right? That's not about data streaming or event streaming, and it's not about video streaming like the conference streaming that we use typically like Zoom or Teams or Google Meets. It's actually is a way of how we streaming real-time data. So let me talk about the change of the enterprises now. I think it's all a big change to what is around our life, daily life, right? In fact, with this digital age, right, we don't really call a taxi now. We just call it through something like Uber platform. We do our grocery through online e-commerces, and also you do online banking. You don't go line up in a bank anymore, right? It becomes a norm right now. So you just use your applications and get the job done, right? So software is changing every aspect of life. Um, and then the reason why we are talking about this change, right? When we talk about enterprise, I think a lot of us were talking about, oh, all these enterprises are doing digital transformation using a lot of software. But indeed, software is the business now. So the old way, you can see the old way and the new way, how we see the new change. It's the old way is like a slow data, right? New way is fast data. Everything is real time. Everything is happens now. And the old way, we do have a lot of batch processing in the enterprises, but now I think we all expected a lot of real time stream processing, like you do instant payment, you do instant money transfer through bank. Usually it takes a day or two, right? And then the banks even charge you, but now it become norms, right? And also the data used to be siloed in the enterprise, right? So you have different application, different databases generating data, and now we are expecting all the systems are being connected, right? So this is the how when we talk about the on demand platform that I just mentioned, like Netflix and the Disney. I mean that's what we not talking about data streaming, but indeed all these enterprises at the when you open up the hood, pop up the hood, they are actually running real time event streaming. So how can we support this real time event streaming? And how does that powering such a massive data systems? I mean, a lot of digital natives like virtual banks, like food delivery network. So let me share with you an example, right? When you see this logo, I think it's pretty familiar with Grab, and Grab is big customer of Confluent and user of Confluent to help them to modernize their data infrastructure to support real-time use cases. And data being generated from different line of business. They have the transportation business. They have food delivery network. Food delivery data, and also they also have like what they call Grab Defense, a defense division which helps to reduce fraud, right? So this is all how Grab leverage Confluent to help them to connect these data together in real time. And the result you can see, they can reduce their fraud rate to 0.2%, and then make the development turnaround time more faster, having more real-time experience for the customers. I think most of us have used the Grab applications, so that's the benefits that when we switch into a real-time scenario. Let's talk about when we talk about real time. Before that, I think traditionally we are when we design systems, we are very database centric. Everything when we develop a new applications, we are thinking, oh, where does the data sits, right? And how do we integrate the data from the database to intermediate systems, and also being downstream serving to the end users, right? So traditionally, with database, anything that goes into the traditional database like RDBMS, it becomes batch, right? So these systems are not designed to support all these real-time use cases, real-time queries, and real-time transformation. So the process is pretty much batch processing, and which is slow. It could be, by batch, we are talking about generating insights, maybe in an hour or half a day, or daily reports, or even weekly reports, right? So that's not the way how we design the new systems. And eventually, with traditional way of how we do data integration, and if you look at this picture, is we all see the smile on the face. We see this in most of the enterprises. Very messy spaghetti type of integration, what we call a point-to-point integration. And this also slows down our development of new applications, new use cases, right? And that's traditional way how to do it. So let's see how Confluent helps you to support the new innovation use cases with real-time data, right? So we have the term called data in motion. So right now, as you see the banner at the bottom, Citigroup is also one of the major key customer of Confluent, and they have the CEO has mentioned, they need to shift their thinking from everything at rest to everything in motion. So what's happened now with Confluent, with the real-time data event streaming system sit in the middle of the enterprise, like central hub, and everything, all the operations, like when there is a sale transaction, there is a shipment arrive, there is a trade happening, or even a customer experience, like when they step into a store, which is you exactly probably know their location as well, right? So now with the new paradigm, we should be able to, you need a platform that can handle high volume of data in high velocity, right? Real-time data that comes in from different data sources. And you can see the wheel in the middle, which is the key here. We do the transformation in real time. So we don't do too much of a batch transformation anymore. What we call the ETL process should happen in the real-time data stream. And then what you have experienced with something like Uber, something like Grab that we talked about, you'll find dynamic change, or dynamic data, or dynamic price offering or quotation. When you call a cab at a different time during the day, then they give you a different price. The reason why is because it's been transformed, all this data, including the traffic condition, how many cars around you, a lot of conditions as being doing ETL on the data stream in real time, and then give you that price. And then, of course, I mean, in the destination, you can also pipe it the data into different applications like your microservices or your data lake for further analytics actions. So a question: why can't we do it with our existing platforms? Why do we need to change? We have a lot of databases. We have messaging system. We have ETL process, batch ETL process or data warehouse. But what you need is let's pay attention to the change now by reaching the stage of software-defined enterprise. Before we are handling a lot of historical data. We find our insights based on what has happened. But now we need real-time events. Right? Any events that comes in, a transaction that comes in would trigger a customer experience change, right? And then it used to be, we need very highly scalable systems to handle that kind of transactions, and also not just transaction. I think when we do analytics, a lot of time now is based on user behavior. Some like user click on a web page, from one page to another, and then you bring it to the shopping cart, and that's about high volume and high velocity. And used to be transient, and because we need to process this data in real time, doing transformation in real time, we need the persistence, data persistence, and also enriching the data on the data stream and pipe it to the downstream to support your use cases, right? So these are the key factors that the reason why we need to change our infrastructure to have real-time event streaming. So that's to give you some key characteristics here, just to show you on the screen. That's what you need for data streaming systems. So how to set the data in motion? I think that's become a question now. So you heard about how these digital natives are running their system in real time, and how we do it, how you do it. So we Confluent, we have helped many enterprises, many customers doing this. And just to give you an example here, this is a typical, like for example, a telco operation. You have a lot of data sources behind the scenes. So you have a lot, like RDBMS, you have file-based data, you have different data, and it's going to be leveraging some what we call Kafka connectors, source connectors to ingest this data into Confluent, right? And then in real time, you can see many data streams here be real-time processed by KSQLDB, which is a stream processing engine of Confluent. And then once this data is transformed, or maybe you do real-time data cleansing, and then you can support different type of use cases such as real-time fraud detection, which is a lot of banks around the world are leveraging Confluent to do real-time fraud analytics, and also maybe some customer experience applications, right? This is another example of how we leverage real-time event streaming to do some real-time correlation and root cause analysis. So these actually give you happy customers. And why? Because telcos, as an example, they have operation system and also BSS, like business support systems. And every event comes in like a time-based fashion, and we know exactly what happened at a given point in time. And when there is a system error that happens, or there is a complaint that happens from the customer that call in the call center and complain, we know exactly the sequence when it happens. And if, for example, if I know that our operation system that tells me in certain area the reception, the signal is getting bad, we can take proactive action before the customer complain, right? so that we can give them some promotion, give them some early notifications so that you can control the situation and have a happy customers. So that's how we do it. So now I've prepped you with event streaming as a foundation concept. So now let's switch gear to data mesh, which is the new upcoming concept, which how we do data management and data sharing across the enterprises or even across regions, right? So this data mesh concept has been influenced heavily from what we know already, data marts, data-driven design, microservices, and event streaming. Couple that, and we come up with, this data mesh and API concept. So quickly go through the key principles of data mesh. We have four key principles here. The first one is domain-driven and decentralization. So that means when we organize our data now, it's more of supposed to be a decentralized fashion and managed by the domain experts, not just data team, right? It used to be the data team or data engineering team um, get to control and massage the data for support the data downstream end users, right? Now, I mean, with data mesh, we have domain driven and we have decentralization model, and also a very key concept of data as a first class product. So when we generate data, we should be created as a product, and it should be easily consumed in a self-service fashion, like borrow a book from the library. That's what I use this analogy. Um, and then federated governance is, of course, one of the key principle of how we manage data is the data governance, right? Even with streaming data, we should be having some good control on our data, who can access, when was the access, etc. So let's me dive into these domain-driven decentralization. So concept. So it just used to be, it's all controlled by like a data warehouse data team, but the new pattern should be, decentralized and managed by the domain experts. That includes data engineer, also includes the business folks who knows what exactly like a data, what you call, what is a product, what is a sales, right? And data as a first class product. So with Confluent, we have multiple ways to allow you to access this data, like real-time consumption or through connectors, downsync to the destination databases or data warehouse or data lake for access. We have different, but the key concept is to manage data as a first class product for our end users. And how to get this data in and out of this data product. This picture show you there are multiple ways with Confluent with the real-time data streams. So continuous streams your data into the data product. It can be through REST, like a snapshot ingestion, at a point in time ingestion. And on the other side, you can when you consume the product, the data product, you can have the same multiple ways like event streams or through a REST API to access. So Confluent platform has this already come with these features. You can do real-time consumption and production, and you can also leverage the REST API to produce and consume data. Inside a data product, we can also see, there is also the real-time streaming mechanism through the what I just mentioned, KSQLDB for filtering the data, process, cleansing, real-time joining, and analyzing, and also you can triage your data into different new data streams for your end users access. So that's what's happening within a data product. And the third principle, it's about self-service data platform. So as you see, there's a rendering machine here. That's the end user should be able to consume the data at ease, right? So they should know what is this data product about, the schema about this data. So as you can see the screen here, there are on our Confluent platform or the Confluent cloud, you can access these features easily by knowing, we offer something like a stream catalog, stream lineage, so you know exactly where this data come from, going through what kind of transformation, and downstream to which topic, so you can access like a self-service fashion. And lastly, the last principle is federated governance, and there should be well-governed streaming data as well. So we have a lot of data governance tool for batch data, but imagine when you're using more streaming data, you should be able to control at the same way. So we have that's how Confluent platform Confluent can help, and Confluent will be sitting. We position Confluent as like a central data hub, or you can call it central nervous systems in your enterprises, and to support your data in motion initiatives. And this is some reasons why event streaming is good fit, for supporting your data mesh initiative. And I'll just leave it here so you can access the deck later, but I'm not going to read all these details. But it's real-time, low latency. You get the data immediately. You have a great governance with all this information, and we are supporting like real-time. So that means also both historical data. You can consume your data hourly, or you can consume it now, right? So after you heard this concept, you might be getting quite excited with data mesh and want to learn more. So how do we get started? I've shared some resources here. We have a site called developer.confluent.com. And when you start with, you have heard Confluent and Kafka, this term, just recently, your journey should start here. It's a one-stop shop. So come to this site and you can start learning real-time event streaming and Kafka, and also through the Confluent experts. And learn more about data mesh. I share a link here so you can access. And if you want to get your hands dirty, you can access Confluent Cloud now, right? You don't have to wait. Right after this session, you can register on Confluent Cloud, use the promo code. You can immediately experience how to get to like a data mesh concept. All right, so that's the content that I prepared today. Over to you, Simon.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Kenneth, for your fascinating sharing. Unfortunately, we have to go on break, so we don't have time for any Q&A. So I want to thank you for your
Sure.
presentation again, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much, Kenneth.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.